Good afternoon and welcome to another Tech Tuesday, RVonAV. I'm Rich Venter, the Vice President of B2B for Sony Electronics, and I'm actually calling in today and doing this from a different part of the house. A little extra noise outside. I want to make sure we had some great opportunity for you to hear and engage and listen to some great individuals from the industry and from Sony overall. With that, I'd love to introduce today's panel. Today is going to be a little different than previous panels. This is all about Sony. And welcoming to the room today, we've got Terry Irvine, who's our account manager on the western half of Canada. Drew Buttress, product manager, focusing on our INA cameras and projectors. Chrissy Sarah, who is a sales support engineer based in the Midwest. And then Terence Boyd, one of our business managers, focusing on the projector lineup. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all doing great.
Thank you.
It's always good to see all your smiling faces.
Thank you.
So maybe we'll start off a little bit why don't each of you talk a little bit about what you do at Sony, maybe a little about your history at Sony. We'll kind of start off with Terry Irvine.
Yes, thank you, Rich. I'm Terry Irvine, based out of Western Canada, and I'm responsible here for building relationships with my resellers, end users, third-party resellers, looking after all the product categories, Bravia, data projectors, PTZ cameras. So I have a great group of people and individuals that I work with in terms of my resellers. Very excited about that, been excited about that for quite some time. So I just try to continue to build a relationship with them and work with them on a day-to-day basis. And things seem to be working out quite well.
Excellent. Thanks, Terry. So, Drew.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks, Rich. I'm Drew Buttress, Senior Product Manager. I'm in charge of Sony's INA, or Imaging and Analytics, product line, as well as our Pro Projection Solutions. I've been with Sony 13 years. I started with machine vision cameras and moved into the PTZ cameras. Basically, I'm grabbing voice of customer. I'm helping our field account managers with doing demos. The product managers on my team, we all help design and set up what we're going to show at large trade shows. Pretty much we're here to support our team.
Excellent. Thanks, Drew. Mr. Boyd, Terence Boyd, from our business management team.
Hey, Rich. Thank you very much for having me on. My name is Terence Boyd, and I'm a senior business manager for our Pro Projection line here at Sony. And I've been with the company about 14 years now, working on my 15th year here. I've been in some different roles in different platforms, coming from the having been part of the World Repair Parts operation, and then under the service organization, and then coming over to the sales and marketing group here on the Pro Group side, the IPSA side. So yeah, it's been fantastic. I came over to the sales and marketing role about 3 years ago, and first having managed the 4K SXRD line. And yeah, it's a very exciting product, and then expanding that scope of responsibility to cover our 3 LCD business projector line as well. So thank you very much for having
me. Excellent. And Chrissy Sarah.
Woohoo! All right, I am a senior sales support engineer here at Sony B2B, and I have the honor and privilege to work with such an amazing group of people who are pushing Rich's vision forward. And part of my role is to support our Midwest and Central U.S. Account managers with our products' technical specifications. And that basically means that I get to hang out with the product all the time. I love it. And we get to kind of poke around, try to break stuff, find out how it works, and then additionally support my AM's accounts with technical trainings. And I'll be doing a lot of presentations that will talk more specifically about the product's technical aspects rather than how to sell it. And then another part of my role that's really important to me is the training aspect for our internal staff at Sony. So I've taken on the honor of being able to teach our internal staff not only more product information, but also the CTS certification programs as best as I can with the job that I have to balance. And then also I'm working with John Garmendi with developing our consultant relationships, which has been super fun because I have had previous experience in the consultant realm with my previous jobs, and so it's kind of nice to be back in the saddle a bit.
Excellent. Well, and I think it'd be stupid for me not to mention, how important education is for Sony and everything we're driving. And we have multiple individuals in our organization who've received their CTSs this year. We've got a lot of our salespeople getting what we call the internal black belts with the technology and products. And even Chrissy was recently awarded the Educator of the Year by VIXA. So just all exciting opportunities, all exciting things around education. And as we all talk about education, the smarter our people are, the smarter our customers are and our partners are, the more we can accomplish together. So definitely kudos and congratulations to everybody on all the hard work. So let's talk, Terry, you've been at Sony for quite a few years and you've seen a lot of changes in this organization, but you've seen a lot of changes in the industry as a whole. What have you seen that's really, let's talk a little bit about some of those changes that you've seen since you began your career at Sony.
There have been a lot of changes, and I think the biggest thing is the technology shift. With the pandemic, we've had a chance to see how people work differently. For myself, I've been working from home for over 20 years, so I've been prepared for that. But with the new technology, with Teams, with Zoom, all of those kinds of things, it just have allowed people to work differently. From a Sony perspective, we've have products such as the Edge Analytics, that allow executives, teachers, distance learning, to be able to teach basically from anywhere. So seeing that shift and having our resellers, end users adopt that shift within what they're doing day to day has been very rewarding.
So Terrence or Terry, in your market, I think Western Canada, you and I talked about it the other day, and all of Canada for that matter. You guys have been coming in and out of lockout multiple times. How are your integrators communicating, and how are you working with your partners?
I guess the biggest key is right across Canada. We had that fourth wave, and I know Western Canada from Winnipeg all the way to the ocean kind of got hit a little bit harder than, say, Eastern Canada. And, we only had maybe 20 to 30% of your staff in the corporate sector working. It created quite a bit of doubt in education, whether or not they were going to go back to school, things like that. But utilizing the technology, being able to work from home, being able to, have the remote classrooms, things like that, has been a big help, throughout. So Western Canada, we are coming back, I should say, slowly. There have been, quite a bit more restrictions even within Alberta, where I'm based out of Calgary. And but things are beginning to lift a little bit. But my resellers and I say the end users, they really have adapted and just come up with new ways of communicating, new ways of working, and getting their messages across, and just taking care of the things they have to do in a more robust and generous way, using the technology we have in front of us.
Okay. So Terrence, the product category that you manage for us with the business projectors and the SXRDs, they've gone through a lot of evolution over the years. What have you seen, especially in the last year or so? I know SXRD is kind of a new product for some people; they may not be familiar with it. What have you seen that's been changing?
Well, Rich, I think one of the areas, since the pandemic is obviously as people have kind of retrenched and moved away from each other and are socially distancing. I think a lot of the traditional venues that we've seen where when you're projecting on a screen, you have a lot of people in that space. And what's happened is now that a lot of classes and a lot of offices, people are working from home. We're seeing people kind of move away from that. And although the need for projection hasn't gone away, I think the usage of projections kind of changed a little bit. I think as people are now becoming vaccinated and people are slowly starting to kind of make their way back into the classrooms and into the workspaces, what we're seeing is the ability to still project a larger image in a space still provides opportunities for people to socially distance in that space, but yet still be able to see the projected content. So, with that said, some of the smaller display technologies are nice because you are able to to create some beautiful imagery in smaller spaces, but to still be able to project that same content in a space where you can get many eyes in a socially distanced manner onto the screen is something that I think the projection industry is still really kind of there's still a need for that. There's still a strong need for that. And so I think during the last year or two, we're also seeing a big need for improvements in the quality of projection technology. So like with our 4K SXRD line, with our GTZ 380 10,000 lumen projection system, we're seeing the needs of the users refining and becoming more particular about what they want to see and what they desire to see. So we've been able to kind of use some of our products and refine some of our products to continue to give customers and users what they want, which is better and better quality imagery.
Yeah, definitely. The demise of the projector is definitely not happening, and we're still seeing multiple applications and deployments of projectors. So, I think the GTZ 380 is just a fantastic product, and I know it's won multiple awards, and it really is an amazing solution. So, I'm always excited. I'm still a projector guy. I still geek out a little bit with projectors, so it's always exciting to see that product deployed. So Drew, on the INA side, you've seen quite a few changes over, especially this last year with more and more people having to work from home. What are you seeing that you've seen so far in that space?
Well, the changes has really been pretty amazing to watch. I mean, when I first took over the PTZs, we were still doing standard def. We were still doing NTSC, and we evolved into 720p, then 1080. We're all the way up to 4K 30. And then in our POV and box cameras, we're actually able to do 4K 60p. What's really changed about the new ways of working and working from home is that people, high-level executives don't necessarily want their image to be that from a laptop. And so we have done a number of presentations with this very venue, like Tech Tuesdays, where we've shown how you could take one of our box cameras or one of our even PTZ cameras, and with this, what we call virtual web driver, connect the RTSP feed directly into things like Teams, Zoom, WebEx, and it appears to be a USB camera. Now, the SRG XP1 is a USB camera. You could connect that directly to your laptop, and then with a simple change in your settings for video, select that camera. But that's been a big way of going. The other thing is we brought out what we call the Edge Analytics appliance, and with the Edge Analytics appliance, it's 5 different applications, and one of them has really kind of started to catch on with the people who want to create amazing content. And what we're able to do, it's called Chroma Keyless CG Overlay. And what we're able to do is there's 5 different layers, and the furthest layer away would be your background. So you can upload whatever photo you want, a PNG file up to UHD resolution. You can then create a space where your presentation, your PowerPoint, or whatever it is you're trying to present, that gets displayed. Then what we're able to do is pull you, the speaker, out of the whatever background you're standing in, whether it's your home office or it's a small room, either on campus or in your normal workspace. But what you're able to then do is we pull them out without using a green screen. And so now that's the third layer, is the presenter. And then we can put up a logo, we can make it look like you're sitting at a desk or standing at a podium. So it allows you to create very visually appealing content to go out live when you're doing presentations, or in the case of the classroom, maybe you're recording it on your lecture capture system for students to go watch remotely, with like video on demand.
Sorry about
That's
that. Can you
fantastic.
hear me okay? Oh, there we go.
Yes.
I kept cutting out a little bit. No, it's a lot of great information. And, Drew, I think, we've talked a lot about how much, especially this last year, cameras have become more and more important, and the quality of camera and the video feed and everything. And I think Terry can attest to that with his customers, and Chrissy can as well, as she talks to our customers, how important having the right camera, the right picture quality, the video feed, all of that stuff is really, it's critical, whether you're working from home or in an office. So, but it's pretty
Do we have
amazing to
time
see
to
how much
add to
camera
that?
tech changed. Sure, of course.
I was just wanted to reiterate Drew's point with the Edge and the PTZ camera collections. Almost every demo that I do quite a few on a weekly basis. Not only are they interested in the Edge technology, but also brainstorming how products work in general to meet their needs. So the PTZ cameras are box cameras. They're high conversation point. Where that feed's going to go, is it going to be on one of our displays or a projector, or is it going to be streaming? And then two of the most famous features, Drew mentioned a few, are the PTZ auto tracking and the handwriting extraction, especially in my education environments. So I definitely am excited to see that more in not only conversation, but actually boots on the ground and seeing it in action.
No, yeah, definitely. And Chrissy, I think, when you and I first talked last year, when we were looking to bring you over, we talked, yeah, I think you were pretty excited because I think with Sony, you saw, we have the visual aspect, we've got the camera aspect. We talked a little bit about edge analytics, the direct to LED space. So, you're getting to see our products from every possible angle. And I'm just curious to see what has been that feedback or those conversations that your customers and partners are saying to you.
Well, I'm always a big component of relationship when it comes to AV design. And so one thing is having a back end that's supportive of their desires and their conversations. So something that I exercise on a daily basis that I was able to better understand going through the CTS was a needs analysis process. There's always been a huge gap between purse string holders and end user, and I've seen that throughout my entire career. And being in this role and the opportunities that I have to communicate directly with our customers, with our businesses that we work with, and then occasionally the end user directly, I can start to see where their questions are, this big, and they just need to kind of bring that down and explained how that's going to work in their system. And then by the time we're done with the conversation, they have a whole nother picture in their mind. And that's been the first thing that's come to mind. And then feedback wise, meeting that expectation. What is it that they're wanting to do? How are they going to do it with the budget that they have? And down to what terminal they're going to use on the back panel of the unit. So my feedback is definitely a lot more specific to wanting to know what the ins and the outs are, what resolutions things can be run at, what's best for their room. Is it projection? Is it a display? Is it a CLED wall? Like, where are we at with what they're wanting to accomplish and their budget?
So one thing I want to remind everybody on here too is please ask questions. It's a great opportunity to ask these individuals tons of questions. Ability to post your questions over in the questions tab, and we will try our hardest to answer each one of those. And those that we don't cover on here, we'll definitely make sure we can follow up back with you on it. So Terry, one of the big, now we'll talk about the changes that you've all undergone the last year and a half with me coming on board. is one of the big changes that we really made in this organization is become more vertically focused. So if we look at your territory, I mean, what have you seen or what has Sony done that's been different around how we focus and speak to the vertical markets?
I think using the technology that you have given us in terms of the ways of working, being able to drill down with Power BI and better understand our customers, their needs, how they purchase, how they do things on a daily basis, monthly basis, and a yearly basis. Those have been very, very Tuesday. Since you've been on, I've been here now for this November 22nd is 39 years with Sony, all right here in Western Canada. And I've seen a lot of changes, and the changes that you've implemented has been very positive. I've gotten excellent feedback from my resellers on the things that we are communicating with them, how we are communicating with them, all the programs, things like that we have brought forth.
Okay. So Terence, kind of playing along this a little bit is what have you seen, from how we market, right? So we've market different now to the verticals, I think, with the tools that we've given you. And what are you seeing?
Yeah, so and kind of piggybacking off of what Terry was saying as well, I think we're becoming more agile marketers, right? So I think we're becoming a little bit savvier in how we talk to our customers, our channels, and we're becoming smarter in our conversations, I think. And that's not to say that we weren't smart before, of course, but I think we're talking in ways that we can relate and people can relate to us a little bit more, So for instance, just even using, this RVonAV platform right here, as well as a number of other outreach, pieces that we're doing, we're painting ourselves more as a thought leader, in the industry. I think as a company with our professional products, especially, with our B2B products. So I think everyone has known that Sony is a very dynamic, very innovative manufacturer of products, but we're also now allowing people, letting people hear what's in the heads of the talent that works at Sony, because it's the talent is the magic behind everything that we do and all the products that we create. So I think by tapping into that wealth of knowledge and resources and helping people to kind of see and hear why we believe in and what it is about our products and how how we are as a thought leader, creating and creating a movement, for people to follow, I think is something that is kind of a newer era, I guess, if you want to call it, at least here on the B2B side. So that's something that I've really kind of looked at as a positive, and we're finding new ways to have conversations. And you know what? Even since we had the pandemic, I think being able to come into people's living rooms and onto their devices and streaming our messages to across different platforms is a newer way for us to really have these conversations about our products, with our customers and everything. So I think that's been a very new and interesting, development for us.
Okay. So Drew, when we look at, part of the change now with the vertical focus is we also take the voice of the customer and we look at what their technology needs and stuff like that. So if we look at the I&A space with our cameras and PTZ, SRG and everything, how has that maybe evolved? Let's maybe talk about the hospital environment. What have we done to update, or what have we seen around that?
Well, Rich, pre-pandemic, we were moving a lot of cameras into the hospital space, primarily for remote patient monitoring. These cameras are being installed in ICU rooms. Prior to the pandemic, hospitals were reducing the number of staff on given floors. And so they came up with a way of doing this remote monitoring from a different location. That nurse or doctor could go check in on the patient and then notify the ward nurse that, hey, room such and such or bed such and such needs assistance. When the pandemic hit and hospitals began to have all of their ICU beds used up, they had to make a lot of changes very quickly to add additional beds, and what we saw was just an increase in the numbers. Now, 3-4 years ago, when we were first getting into this, well, probably even longer than 3 or 4 years ago, it was how good the picture quality was. We had a high enough zoom lens that we were able to go and zoom in, and the person doing the monitoring could actually read the IV level on the bottle or the bag. We also have features where they could do a preset recall and basically move the camera so it's staring at the wall, right? So kind of a privacy feature. So the improvements, especially for the hospital environment, has been better picture quality, better glass in our lenses, so that and combined with the newer imagers, we have just superior image quality. The other thing is we're used on carts. In a lot of cases, the doctors don't have a room, don't have a camera in a fixed position. They need to go it in on carts. So we do an awful lot of work that way too.
Okay. So, Chrissy, when you're having conversations with your partners and customers, how much do they talk about use cases in different verticals, or are they just looking at the tech?
I think it depends on who you're talking with. Sometimes when it's a reseller or a distributor, they're more interested in the product itself. And when, for instance, I was talking with somebody who is a tech director at a church, and we were talking about how to use his pre-existing cameras with the new cameras and possibly an edge system. And, it was a brainstorm conversation that I enjoy a lot. And, there's always going to be in this hybrid experience now. I mean, there's always going to be the question of, okay, how are you getting it to where you got to get it? And where do you need to get it? So that conversation starts with what they're going to look for and what that program fee is ultimately going to look for, which is great because my previous experience in television broadcast, has helped me ask better questions. If they're a person who's doing a lecture on stage, usually the pastor or somebody, where are they going to be standing, and do they bounce around a lot, or do they stay in one spot? How does that person interact with the audience when he's talking, he or she's talking? And then also, like, during their show, when the worship team is worshiping, what do you want to see on screen, and where are we going to put the cameras to do so? So I would say it's more of a solution-based conversation 99% of the time. And in my conversations, I'm not one to put our products in somewhere where they just aren't supposed to fit. I'm going to help the person who I'm conversating with say, okay, I see what your need is. Here's the products we have. Here's what they do and what they don't do. And then that arms them with the knowledge of what they're wanting to do and how. Also, future proofing is still part of the conversation. So, especially when it comes to resolutions, I thought that for a while, everybody's still going to be doing 4K, that's going to be, that's how they want to future proof too. And we're actually still in the 1920 by 1080 realm in a lot of these bigger installations. And so they want to future proof to 4K. And how does that change, connectivity and where they're going to send it in the future? When you stream, we're not streaming yet commercially 4K, right? So you're still going to be coming to YouTube or Facebook in a lesser quality than your 4K that's pumping out of your location. And that could be an issue if they're wanting to, make sure that everybody looks as crisp as possible. So yeah, anyways, lots of great conversation. And I would say that it's definitely more towards what they can do with our product and the technology that surrounds what they're wanting to accomplish, rather than just, hey, you have a display, hey, you have a camera, what do we do with it, kind of thing.
No, definitely. And I think that's the great thing that all of you bring to the table, is that we have those different types of conversations with our customers. So Terry, thinking about, your territory, your business, what product or products from Sony are a game changer for you that we've introduced, say, in the last year and a half?
I think the largest game changer has been the edge analytics. We've had a lot of customers that have adopted that technology, and when we first used the SSE Kiana Papa to demonstrate that product, people were blown away by it. The intelligence of it, and as Drew mentioned, the modules that we have with the handwriting extraction, and being able for one person to present. I think it's simple, very, very easy to use. You don't need a large team to be able to deploy, and operate this system on a daily basis. So I think that, to me, that's been probably the most exciting product is the edge analytics. And of course, coming up, we have the new laser projectors that we just introduced as well. So I think it's going to be even more exciting with that.
Okay. So Terrence, with your product category, I mean, you got a lot of exciting products, but for you, what's that one or two big game changers that we've introduced either recently or the past year?
I think from our 4K SXRD standpoint, definitely our VPL GTZ 380, that 10,000 lumen native 4K projection system. For us, we've won several awards already since its introduction back in January of this year, actually. And that particular product has been kind of a breakout star across our consumer, our custom install channel, as well as pro AV applications as well. I think that people are seeing the ability for that to perform with such image clarity and quality and such a deep color, and it's just the imagery every time we demo that product, at whether it be at customer sites or at some of our more intimate showings that we've had. It's just the reviews have been unbelievable. I mean, people are just it's jaw dropping as far, and it feels good. It feels good to hear that from our customers and from our channel partners that we're clicking on the right formula, right, for that ultimate image quality. So that's been a very exciting product. And on the other end of the spectrum is our VPL PHC 50 and 60. It's a 5,000 and 6,000 lumen fixed lens ultra compact model that has just really gone gangbusters. And people have really appreciated the value proposition, the low total cost of ownership that particular product affords a lot of AV teams and end users. That particular product is performed just unbelievable. So I think that those are two products from our side, that from a kind of large display side that have really intrigued me. And then, looking forward, we do have some new other products that are coming out that I'm really interested in as well, like our crystal LED products, our B series and C series. Those are some areas that just the picture quality there. Again, I know it's not projection, but at the same time, it's a part of our overall kind of cohesive large display strategy. We have the technology, and we have the tools to really help people, showcase their content in ways that we've never experienced or seen before. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and I always like to talk how we have the largest and the smallest in the families too, right? That 32 and 100 inch, and it's from top to bottom, it's high end quality. So Drew,
right.
what are you seeing from a game changer perspective besides Edge? I think we've all talked about how great Edge is. But besides Edge, what else are you seeing?
Well, Rich, this past summer when we did the AV event in New York, I got to see the GTZ 380 for the first time, and we were showing unbelievable 4K HDR content, and it was just visually stunning. And we were shooting on a 147-inch screen, I think. Terrence, you can correct me, but I think it was 147. Just amazing. The new VPL FHZ85, I had one here. I got to test it, play with it. And I think it's going to just be amazing in things like sports simulators. It's going to be amazing in larger size classrooms. The FHZ85 is up to 8K lumens. center brightness. And then I will circle back on Edge just because that's my baby. I love that thing. You know, auto tracking, we do it a little bit differently. We will control a Sony PTZ camera from the video feed coming from that camera. We're controlling it with Visca over IP. And, you know, as the presenter moves left and right, we try to keep them center in the frame. And then when they stop, we do center them in the frame. And so that reduces the need for a manned operator, somebody running a controller to keep that person in frame.
Okay, great. So, and I know we had questions that came in about asking about the camera, challenges that we have, or ways we can support that. So it's always great to see that we have got the auto PTZ to reduce people having to run the cameras and the solutions. And I agree, Edge, it's a great product. And I remember when I first came on board, I think that was one of my first meetings, might have been with you, and I said, all right, tell me what this thing is and why is it so different and what's so cool about it. So Chrissy, you get to talk to our customers about every product we have. What is that exciting product? And I'm sure Edge is going to be part of that conversation. I'm sure Crystal LED, the GZZ 380, all these different things. What else out there?
So I would actually say it's more about the tech of something that's been really exciting in the conversations as of late is that new projector we just dropped with the 7,000 to 8,000 lumens. Some people just need that specific amount of brightness and they don't want anything other than that. So that's been a great leeway. Our color reproduction is, reproduction is, I think, unmatchable, but that's a question. That's a question in conversation. So of our content that we're going to be showing, for if it's a religious environment, they have like something like Pro Presenter where they're going to have moving color backgrounds for the lyrics. If it's an education environment, they're going to have PowerPoints. They're going to have possibly videos that are showcasing a element like a lesson that they're doing. So hospitals are not only just dealing, there's two sides of hospitals, just like there's two sides of stadiums. There's the side of the lobby where the person is waiting to go in for their operation, and then there's the operation side of it. So speaking on the lobby side of it, what are we doing? What are the hospitals doing, and what are they going to put in those environments to keep people informed of what's happening around the hospital, and then keeping them entertained for their wait period and so on. So it's really what we can bring to the table as far as the technology. So for me, big winners are the color reproduction. I don't know, I can't say that word today. And then the brightness and contrast differences between all of our products. So first of all, we have a fantastic web GUI controlled. Most of our products can be controlled through web GUI, which is exciting. And in that allows for brightness and contrast differences. In Bravia, we have Pro Mode. In CLED, we have, or Crystal LED, we have the two different series of walls, high brightness or high contrast. So that we just bring a lot of offering to the table, I think, in general.
Okay. No, totally. It's we're here, right? We've come to the table. We've stepped to the table. We've shown that we are a force to be reckoned with, and it's great to see all those things. So Terry, one area that we spent a lot of time and investment in the organization is really around technology partners. And I know you and I even had a call yesterday. We were talking about an opportunity you're working on. How important has that been, to you and your business, your customers' business, that we're embracing the industry, embracing these technology partners. We're working with them to work with our SoC as an option. I mean, I think we've taken that leap that we haven't done before to really embrace the industry.
Yes, thanks, Rich. Absolutely. We've never done that before over my tenure here so far. Being able to embrace that with partners, digital signage partners such as RVonAV, Xcerity, and other partners that we begin to work with to make sure that we are utilizing the SoC that's in our Bravias. I've worked with a few schools using the technology Bravia to Bravia, and being able to have that within the display making that display even more powerful. So the customers, end users have embraced that. It allowed them to more or less have a broad reach to their audience, knowing that Sony has the technology in order for them to communicate, do business on a day-to-day basis. And we've been adding more and more partners. And as I said, I've just never seen us, grab on to this many partners and work with those partners and allow our resellers to even broaden their reach with a partnership with Sony.
Excellent. So, Chrissy, being an SSE, you get to play with a lot of these partners, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of new exciting technology that we're embracing and working with too. So, what's been that impact in your conversations with the customers and partners?
So specifically, which types of products have I been seeing, or just the
Well,
excitement
no,
of
just
new
more
product?
of just what's been the impact? I mean, what's the impact been on the business and the relationship with our customers and partners?
Yeah, going back to my cornerstone of, always seeing what tech can be brought in and how the solution can come to its fruition. Um, Definitely the streaming capabilities, being able to do that on a smaller budget, being able to handle that with the bandwidth is always a point of contention. But determining where they want things to go and how. Um, and as far as our product line and what we have that I think is something that is going to continue to help is the ability for hybrid experiences. Actually, why we were just talking, I was thinking, what is there anything that we're not doing that I want to draw from customers um, that they want to see more of? And one thing that I think we do strongly is the ecosystem of the hybrid experience. We have the beamforming microphone, we have the Edge, and then the PTZ all together. And then where does that all go? It typically goes into some control system of some sort, and or a production feed distributor of some sort. So, what are those devices, and how are we going to bring those together to finalize the solution? And then, as Terry was mentioning, our uh, software alliance partners through our ProBravia line. Um, I've been pretty. I've been able to get through about 3 or 4 of them. There's quite a few on there, so it takes some time to get them loaded onto my test Bravias and see how they work and what they do. But digital signage solutions, I have been in almost every Pro Bravia conversation, and how to manage the displays. We have a few options for that as far as power management and pro mode, but we also have those alliance partners that do a little bit more than just some of the basic control for displays. How are we going to, if I was a stadium environment and they have 500 displays, how are they going to commission those? And then once they're up and running, how are they going to control those, and what content are they going to put on them? Um, Now that we have the vision that's in front of us, one of those big helpers is that alliance partner page. So that, if anything, at least gets the conversation started, because sometimes that's not a thought, believe it or not. They're like, oh, we just need to get all these displays in here, but then they forget the part, because usually it's somebody else's role to think, how are they going to conveniently put all those together? How much time are they going to save by being able to
Yep.
export those settings and import them? So, yeah, just the tech, going back to the tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's great because the partners, all of them, whether it's a Crestron to a Peerless to an app space, you go down the list of all of them, they've all embraced this relationship with us. And it's not just about Bravia, right? I mean, Terrence and Drew, I mean, looking at the products you guys are responsible with projectors and cameras, having the relationships that we have with Crestron and Kramer and Peerless and Milestone or Legrand, I mean, that helps us either further our reach as well.
Well, Rich, I just want to comment there, and back to kind of what Chrissy was saying. I think that from a commercialization side, as we develop products, we can only develop the products as well as the information that's coming back through the channel, coming back from our the VOC, the voice of the customer as it comes back. And I think an important piece of that is kind of what Chrissy was talking about. As as we are sitting down and having smarter conversations about the connectedness of the ecosystem on the customer side, because one of the things we have to appreciate is just because we're talking to an end user or a customer doesn't mean that that is the entirety of that conversation. There are so many more realms of interactivity, on the customer side, and they're all connected and they have to work seamlessly. And so as we have teams of people out there like Chrissy and the sales support engineers, talking with customers, and our account managers like Terry talking with customers, I think it's important that we ask those deeper and smarter questions that go further upriver, upstream, so that we can really find what the true need is. And once we start to hear that and build that into our products, then I think we're developing more relevant products, right? That hit on that hit on multiple cylinders, with the customer's needs. So I think that's important from the commercialization side, and I just want to reiterate that because again, as we have those smarter conversations and are asking those smarter questions, it helps us to on the commercialization side to do our job so much easier.
I actually really love that point too, Terrence, of what you mentioned about the voice of the customer. I'm actually in Minnesota today, this week, for our Sony AV Roadshow, which I'm very excited to be a part of. And we'll have almost one of everything here. I'm like so pumped to have those conversations this week now because I want to find out from them, what do you guys see here that you like, and what are you not seeing that you want here from us. um, we can't always um, we can't always produce product like out of our suitcase, but we need to know what's relevant. And there's a few platforms that are very important to get connected to in the industry that help draw that voice of customer. Sometimes it's hard to find. Sometimes it changes so fast that we hear one thing and then we move forward in another. Um, and then it just, the next thing is so fast that we didn't even get time to move in fully to the other one. So anyways, eh, in our conversation, in my brainstorming conversations with demos, I think I'm going to add that other element of just saying, hey, so, past this great thing this great conversation we just had, what would you like to see from us? I think that would be, in general, a great direction to go. On a quick segue, I was hoping that we might be able to hear a little bit of, kind of, being new to Sony. I'm a year old as of this year, or this month, I should say. And I've had a really great experience with the team, getting to know everybody virtually, which is difficult because I'm a people person. So it's like trying to empath people through the screen is a little difficult. But I kind of wanted to hear from you guys a little bit about what you've enjoyed most about working here with Sony, and the way that we communicate with our customers, and how we gather that voice of the customer, and how we develop those relationships. I'll start with Terry because you said 39 years. I can't even fathom that. So, what is your thought on that?
Well, 39 years, that is a long time. So I've had an opportunity to see a lot of things. And I think over the transition of that period, Sony itself has evolved. Um, we become more of an information highway for a lot of people. And I think that has been helpful even for me. When I look at it, when we go back to those Tech Tuesdays, Tech Tuesdays, for an example, has been, it allowed for people to maybe go back to the basics, because sometimes as salespeople, we kind of, get complacent a little bit, kind of go back to the basics, but it also given us an opportunity to renew ourselves with the new product launches, more detailed demos, and just bringing in partners normally that we don't bring in and everything. So, over these years, I've just worked with a tremendous group of people and just building relationships. I think a lot of times we forget that that's why we're here. We're here to build those relationships. And I think, for me, that's been, a trademark for me. And like I say, from Manitoba all the way to the ocean, all the way to the Northwest Territories, Yellowknife, places like that. I've been able to, build relationships. But I think in building those relationships, I've been able to carry, a whole bunch of resellers with me, right across Western Canada. So, our own sales team, my partner here in Canada on the Eastern Coast, Rosemary, that work in Eastern Canada. We're communicating daily to make sure that we are, just knowing what our customers need. And that has really, really helped us continue the growth, to continue the excitement that Sony has brought over the years.
Thank you. That's awesome. Drew, I noticed, I get to work with you a lot as you are the product manager for some of the products that I demo. And, you've had a few, I believe in conversation, you've been an SSE before, right? And if I'm correct in that, how have you seen our handling of our technical feature requests come to fruition?
Yeah, no, I've not been an SSE, but at one point
Oh,
I had the distinct pleasure of managing our SSE team.
that was
But
it.
from the
I knew it.
yeah, but from the VOC point of view, I get out in the field a lot, or at least did pre-pandemic, and I'll talk to the end users. I'll talk to the account managers. We could be having lunch together, dinner together, whatever, and I'm asking them, well, what do you hear? And then I do the same with the SSEs. I query them for, hey, what improvement would you want to see? Or if we were going to develop a low cost joystick camera controller, what features would you want in it? And then twice a year, the product managers, we used to meet in Japan, but now it's done all virtually, obviously. They'll ask us for that kind of VOC. Now, if there's like a problem or there's a feature that could really help us win a big deal, we're not waiting for one of those two meetings. We're proactively going back to Japan with those ideas. I would say, we have some revolutionary technology, but we've also got some evolutionary products where, thanks to that VOC coming from the field, taking it to Japan, working with them, and they in turn, their engineering does a fantastic job. A lot of those features and product improvements have come from that, and this is done worldwide. It's not just unique to the U.S. and North America. I mean, my counterpart in Europe is doing exactly what I'm doing in terms of getting that voice of customer, getting it back to Japan, and then trying to convince them of the importance, if you will, of implementing that.
Excellent, Drew. So, I think the key for everyone is we take this, the voice of the customer back to Japan quite a bit. And, I think what's not just important is the voice of the customer to Japan for development, but we also take that internal voice of the customer, our own people. And I think we've really changed that culture. And Terrence, maybe talk to you a little bit, because I know you're part of the internal culture crew and things that we're doing and been very heavily involved in this. Maybe talk a little bit about what we're doing there.
Yeah, so as the voice of the customer from our channel and our customer perspective and how we do business is important, but I think it's also important how we have evolved, I think, as an organization in listening to our internal workforce, voice of the customer, because we are an important customer as well. And over the course of the last couple of years or so, we're seeing Sony take on new efforts to really listen to our workforce as well. I think it was about last year or so we created our President's Diversity Office, which is helping to advance a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives throughout Sony. We're seeing the proliferation of employee resource groups throughout Sony Electronics to really give voice and a platform to a lot of diverse groups of people within Sony, and we are the people who really make the magic happen behind our products. And so we're really starting to enjoy this kind of new era or culture where we are thinking and behaving and working more inclusively. As a matter of fact, Sony, last June, we created the Global Social Justice Fund. It was $100 million investment, and that's something that is we're working with all of our sister companies across our sister companies with this Social Justice Fund. Again, it's $100 million fund. Where we support charitable partnerships and organizations that really focus on improving DEI. In terms of anti-racism initiatives, creating scholarships and internships opportunities, and providing talent development and career pathways for those underrepresented groups. And so, when we stop to think about what we're doing there as a culture and how we're listening to our own people internally, I think it's a very, very, for me, it's something that I kind of stand proud on, and I can't wait to continue to see us doing more things. As a matter of fact, we just announced, I think just about a week ago or so, where we're going to spotlight, change agents in terms of those who advocate and push, diversity, equity, inclusion in terms of the work or effort that they do. We'll start to award them as well with a President's and COO award, right? So we're creating spotlights, we're creating opportunities to recognize people internally, and I think that is just, that shows that the company is listening to us, and we're modeling that behavior, and we're listening to our customers as well. There's that old saying we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can hear twice as much as we speak, right? So I think that's important that culture of listening, not only to our internal customers, but to our external customers as well, who we do business with. It's important, and I think that's the very key cornerstone of our culture.
No, totally. And it's been very exciting watching what you've been involved with DEI and what we've been doing. You mentioned the Social Justice Fund and our partnership with the International African American Museum, which we announced earlier this year. And I think everybody on the team will say that we're definitely we're putting our money and our people where our mouth is, right? It's not just, it's one thing to say we're putting money behind it, but we're also putting our people behind it and our programs and everything else. So it's always great to see that. And I think that's part of the reason why everyone loves working for Sony, being part of Sony, and helping us grow Sony. So maybe to close it out just a little bit, a couple things. One is, definitely as everyone knows who sits through these RVonAVs, I always like to talk about, what was your favorite technology that you use for work, or your favorite technology that you use personal. And I kind of want to throw around robin real quick to kind of hear from each one of you. Maybe we'll start with you, Terence, since we enter with you. Let's kind of start with you on this.
Oh gosh, I think one of the pieces of technology that I've really kind of latched onto, unfortunately, it's not a Sony product. It's my remarkable tablet. It's a digital e-tablet that I just take notes on. And I'm sorry, I know it's not a Sony product, but it's something that has really helped me to kind of organize my thoughts and from sketches and being able to transmit these things electronically to my computer and everything. It's hey, that's what's been kind of helping me to stay sane over the last year and a half.
All right, Chrissy.
So the question was, what was the new tech that we
No, technology you use. This is more for that you use either for your job or your personal life that's kind of changed things, especially this last year and a half. And we've heard everything from, I've heard everything from we got air fryers to Teams to cell phones to electric bikes. We've heard the non-technical side too, non-electric bikes even.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard. I was just looking at the calendar and I can't believe it's already November. So I still feel like it's a year ago. So I'm super confused. But I don't know. I would say I obtained a second horse this year. So
Okay.
I got some really cool feed upgrades because it's twice as many mouths to feed.
Okay. Cool. How about you, Drew?
Well, we had always done WebEx and whatnot, but when Sony adopted Teams, that was really my first time using it. And as we evolved our Tech Tuesdays and whatnot, it was pretty interesting to see how we could really put some creative content together. More recently, a non-technical item is I obtained a new boat, and I'll share with you. My wife named it. It will be the Hook Wine and Drinker.
Nice. Nice. So, Mr. Irvin.
Well, for me, because I've been working from home for, quite some time, the one thing I did, because I couldn't go out and see my guys and, have that interaction and everything, I purchased a life cycle. I purchased one of the high-end bikes so that way I can get up at 4:35 a.m. in the morning and just, have that bit of solitude and get my mind ready for my day, for my week. Being able to do that, say 5-6 days a week, getting on my bike, listening to my jazz and everything. I think that was the one thing that got me through that, that 18 months and everything like that. So I would say my life cycle, which I love very much.
Excellent. See, I thought it was going to be something sports related, so we were partially there with your life.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank this fantastic group. I mean, all of you are what makes Sony great, what makes B2B great, and I'm proud to have you all as part of the journey that we're all taking. For those who attended, hopefully you got a lot of good value out of the conversation with the Sony team. I do want to remind you, we do have future Tech Tuesdays coming up. You can always view them as well on our YouTube channel. And those who may or may not know, Sony's coming out to you. We're on the road. In fact, this week we're in Minneapolis. We'll be following that up with Boston, New York, Tampa, Atlanta, Dallas, LA for our road shows. So we're definitely out there and about coming to you, and hopefully you can come spend some time and see some of the great products that we have out there. With that, I want to thank my panelists today, some of the best people I know in the industry, and it's always great seeing all of your smiling faces. So thank you for spending some time with Sony, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you.